In early 2025, I walked away from almost a decade in tech, took every penny I saved to do two things simultaneously: slow travel through Asia while building an online business from scratch with zero experience. The logic was that my husband and I would learn and build as we were traveling, and the worst case scenario would be that the business failed, but we achieved a lifelong dream of traveling the world together. But the best case scenario would be that the business succeeded and we could look forward to a future of independence where we could work and travel wherever we wanted, whenever we wanted. So this video, a year after launching the business, is the full debrief. What the business is, what's working, what isn't, what I regret, and the actual numbers. Because if I'm going to be the person that criticizes business gurus for glossing over the reality of starting a business online, I should be willing to share my experience honestly. I started this channel in January as a creative outlet, but also to share my journey and experiences in the hopes that it could be helpful to you. And while I've covered a lot of the travel and rationale behind my decisions, I haven't actually deep dived on the business yet. So let's talk about the business itself. And the concept of this came from something embarrassingly personal, which is the fact that I love plants, but I'm objectively one of the worst people ever at keeping them alive. And I realized that if you wanted the aesthetic of nature in your home, you either give in and buy the real thing and watch them die slowly, or you trawl through lots of different shops to find an alternative, which really wasn't the best quality. So we created Plantish, a store that we wish would have existed. And it's essentially a themed homeware and lifestyle brand where you can get artificial plants, plant-themed art, home decor, and it's basically for people who love nature but can't quite keep plants alive, or just want a low maintenance alternative to have that green aesthetic in the home without any effort. Now, while the origin story sounds cool, like we found a problem and we built a solution, what we didn't actually do rigorously enough was find out if enough people had that problem to build a business solution around it. But we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Before we get on to all of our mistakes and regrets, I'm going to start with what's working because I want to give you hope that this is actually possible. The first point is that the concept resonates with the right people. I recently had the idea to send a survey out to all 1,500 customers in our database and offered them a £5 voucher if they would answer a few questions. Definitely bribery, but extremely effective. Of everyone that received the survey, 30 replied, and the answers were overwhelmingly positive, indicating that quite a few of them intend to make a purchase, and they also loved the idea. The caveat, and this ties back to what I said about validation, is that finding the right people and finding enough people are two separate problems. We solved the first one, but the second one is a work in progress. The next part of the business that's working quite well is the print-on-demand aspect of it, which is the element that's closest to us. All the plant art as well as the hats are things that we designed ourselves, every single piece. And we work with a supplier called Gelato who is consistent and reliable. So it's really helpful to have that part of the business operating smoothly. And also there's a really great level of satisfaction on selling something that you've created versus selling something that you've sourced from a supplier that's 3 steps removed from you. The rest of our range involves a longer supply chain, which means higher costs and more unpredictable delivery times, which can impact the customer experience. It doesn't mean that it's bad, it just means that it's not as easy. The next positive sign is the fact that we have repeat customers. And when we got our first sale, I actually cried because it's obviously a proof of concept and that belief in yourself that you can finally regain after building something for a couple of months and then thinking, cool, we didn't waste our time. But the repeat customer element was even more beautiful because it means that somebody had a positive experience and then decided to come back. And we've developed more and more loyalists over the last couple of months with 3 or 4 repeat orders. It means that the niche is real, and while there isn't a high demand for it at the moment, it's still serving a small group of people well. The other thing that's working quite well, but that's really boring, is SEO, or search engine optimization, which we took really seriously from the start of the business. Every image, every product, and every corner of the website has alt text and keywords embedded into it so that we can rank highly in search engine results. It's so important because unlike a real shop that has a storefront where people might walk past, online businesses don't have that privilege. So the best way to get people in is to make sure that you're easily findable. And we've done that really comprehensively. We're also very present with our social media platforms, and we have a blog that we're constantly updating. It means that people are finding our website organically. And while in the first couple of months of doing this, it had no positive effect, now we're getting 2 to 3 organic sales a week, which is amazing because you don't have to advertise to get them through the door. They just appear disappear. One of the biggest wins was when we actually found out that we rank above Amazon for the propagation jars on our website. So if you Google propagation jar in the UK, Plantish comes above the biggest retailer in the world. And I don't know, for a business that's 1 year old, that's pretty cool. And perhaps more telling for where things are headed, ChatGPT has started recommending us to customers that are looking for plant-themed stuff. So it's all heading in a positive direction, albeit very, very painfully slowly. Now let's segue on to all the things that aren't working. And since we're in the infancy of our business and we practically have no idea what we're doing in the grand scheme of things, this list is very long. I'll start off with Meta ads, and I'm going to dive into this a little bit in detail. So if this is not relevant to you, you're welcome to skip. Currently, Meta ads is our only proven paid acquisition channel. We've tried Google ads, we've tried Pinterest, they didn't really result in any conversions, so we're stuck with Meta. But the problem is, it's incredibly volatile and it's a little bit of a black box. It can be really hard as a beginner to understand what's working without sinking hundreds and thousands of pounds into it, which is something that we didn't really have. I think generally advertising can be quite challenging when you're inexperienced because it's hard to understand where the problems actually stem from. Is it a shoddy creative, or is it simply the time of year that you've chosen to advertise? Who knows? But unless you have lots of money to consistently sink into this, it can be hard to get accurate data to make decisions off the back of. We soft launched our website in March 2025, but we didn't actually end up advertising until about August because we didn't quite feel confident that the store was ready and we wanted to understand the advertising space a little bit more. We started small, like £10 a day, sometimes £50 a day, but in those early days, if we'd spent £100, we'd only make back £10. So we were obviously doing a lot of things wrong. By around September, through very painful and expensive trial and error, we started getting a one-for-one return. So if we were spending £100, we were making roughly £100 back in the store, which is great, but not ideal because we need to be making a profit to make the business sustainable. Then Black Friday was looming, which is obviously the biggest shopping season of the year. So we really wanted to go all in because the website was at the best state that it had been, and we'd had proof of concept and a bit more experience in running things. We spent around £3,000 across November, around £100 a day most days, and then roughly £300 a day for that final big week. And we ended up making about £6,000. It meant that by the time Black Friday was over, we'd broken even on the entirety of our ad spend for the year, which was amazing news. Over the full 12 months since launch, we'd made around £10,000 in revenue. And before you do the maths, that has been mainly absorbed by ad spend, product costs, supplier costs, and the general cost of running a business, as well as tax and all that stuff. So it was not £10,000 in profit. Our profit was actually much, much smaller. I think overall the honest problem with Meta is that some days you spend £100 and you make £200, and some days you spend £100 and you make £15. And for a business in its early days, that volatility can be a make or break situation, especially if you don't have an unlimited financial runway. The next thing that I don't think is working that well is the packaging and the brand experience. Currently, if you make an order from Plantish, especially if you make one with lots of different items, you're going to receive parcels from lots of different places at different times. So you don't really get an amazing Plantish branded box with fancy tissue paper, and I really wish you did, but unfortunately at the early stage of a business, it's really hard to have comprehensive white labeling or, a factory that does all that for you. At a certain point, I thought I could just get all the items delivered to me and then put it in fancy packaging, but not only would that be incredibly expensive as a process, it would really slow down the delivery time to the customer, and it would go against the idea of being able to have this as an online business that we could run from anywhere. My goal is really to have the customer feel like they're getting a premium experience, because we're not exactly a cheap brand, but I think that that's something that I hope to be able to achieve in the next 12 months. Ultimately, the first step is just getting the minimum viable product out and then iterating and improving as you're able to. Now for a few things I regret, and the first is validation. Building a business from a problem you have is a really good starting point, but I think the important thing that we missed out was verifying if enough people had that problem and stress testing the idea before going into building something that took a long time to organize. And I wouldn't really change the fact that we made it, but if we had done that stress testing at the start, it would have changed some of our earlier decisions about the business. So I really think validation is the most important lesson learned here. My other regret, as I said before, was the fact that the store opened in March and we waited until it was perfect before we started advertising, meaning we lost 5 months of data. We could have spent a couple of £100 earlier and gained some useful information on what works and what doesn't, so that when we were coming up to Black Friday, we were even more prepared than we were. I think that's just a personal thing for me. I'm very risk averse, and obviously because we were traveling at the same time, we were trying to pick between preserving money for travels and preserving money for business. And obviously the business side is the better thing to invest in, but instant gratification is a challenge that we all face. So, it is what it is. Another regret is the supply chain piece. The print on demand side works because it's simple. Obviously, we don't own the manufacturing, which means we will always have to go by supplier costs, but the other components of the business have a very complicated supply chain, and complicated equals expensive. It's not something that can't be resolved, but in the short term, it is a day-to-day challenge that we're always facing. Now, the final thing that isn't working that great is, and I didn't really see this coming, the product category. Home decor is non-essential, and most of the world is in a cost of living crisis. So when people have to make a decision between their grocery bill and a plant-themed art print, we know which one's going to win. I find myself sometimes wishing that we built something that was essential, that people would always need, and that could be turned into a subscription which would guarantee recurring revenue. Instead, we're in the business of beautiful things that people want rather than what they need. And in the current climate, that can be quite hard to sell, especially online, and especially if you don't have a track record of operating as a business for years where you have trust and relationships. So 1 year in, was it worth it? Honestly, 10 grand from a business that didn't exist a year and a half ago, from a niche that we invented with customers that do come back, is a proof of concept. Yes, it isn't amazing and where we need it to be to survive day to day, but it's a starting point that I'm really proud of. And it's also real. Something real built from nothing is better than nothing. I do have concerns that we haven't solved. Like, the ad volatility thing is real. The business category worry is also quite genuine, and we're still often figuring things out as we go along. But despite not having a 5-year plan that answers all of these things, my husband and I have agreed that even if we run out of money while building this thing, we will go back and get odd jobs to funnel into this business, because what we've decided for us and the life we want to live is that having a salaried job isn't going to give us the financial freedom that we're hoping for. So we're going to keep working towards it no matter what happens, and I will keep reporting back publicly on this, because I feel like this goal of being free is something that a lot of us have. If you're building something too, or you're thinking about it, then stick around, because every Friday I'll be releasing another video on either the business side of everything or the travel side of things. And I have a separate channel for some more unfiltered, less put together thoughts that I have on all of this process, and just sort of genuine human shower thoughts, because obviously one channel was not enough. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and found it valuable. If you have any questions or thoughts, please feel free to share them in the comments section below. I reply to every single one. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.